Last time, I beat Pokemon Platinum with only one Tentacool. It was a really fun challenge, but having to get up to 96 to beat the Elite Four made the ending a bit slow. Hopefully, we don't have that issue this time, as I tried to beat Pokemon Emerald with only one Sableye. Since fairies don't exist yet, Sableye doesn't actually have any weaknesses in this game, which should make him pretty good. You would think so, but his BST is only 380, which for a fully evolved Pokemon is quite bad. That's lower than a second stage starter. At least his stats are slightly higher than Tentacool's. 75 attack and defense is nice, and 65s and 50s for the rest isn't too bad. Let's take a look at his moves. Nightshade at level 9 is great. There's a few Rock and Steel types in the early game who will definitely need that for, but then we don't really get anything else good until Feint Attack at 29 and Shadow Ball at 41. At least we get some decent TMs early on. Thief should be an okay stab move until we get Feint Attack, and Shockwave should be nice too. Later on, we can get Psychic and Brick Break, so by the end of the game, we should have a really good moveset. In this run, I can see Watson and Flannery giving us issues. Paralysis and strong shockwaves, as well as sun-boosted overheats, will probably be a brick wall for us. I'm also thinking the Elite Four is going to be tough. We can obviously get a level advantage, but there's some really strong Pokemon in there, so I'm not sure how high level we'll have to be, but I think it's doable. As for the post-game fight with Steven and his level 78 Metagross, I don't know if we can win that one. Let's see how it goes. The Professor offers me a Gecko, a Landfish, and a weird little Gremlin, so I of course picked the Gremlin. I name him Method, and he has a sassy nature, plus special defense and minus speed. That's pretty good. Our speed is really low anyway, so I'm not bothered about losing that, and our special defense is lower than physical, so it's nice to get that boosted. The first thing I do is fight the rival. He only has Tackle and Growl, which means he can't actually hurt us, so we obviously win. With that done, we unlock the running shoes, and I start training. We need Nightshade to beat the first gym, and it does damage equal to your level, so ideally I want to be about level 15 by then. But I also don't want to make the game too easy. As a ghost type, the early game is normally quite easy, since a lot of Pokemon just have normal moves to attack with, so for now, I just train up to level 12. I also catch 5 Zigzagoons to keep in our team. They'll be useful for HMs, but right now, I'm more interested in using their ability pickup to get items. I want to buy a Psychic TM relatively early on, but it's 3,500 coins from the game corner, so you normally can't get it until around the 5th or 6th gym. By making some extra money from selling items the Zigzagoons pick up, we shouldn't have to wait too long to buy Psychic. So for the Rock Gym, I'm not too worried. We're level 14 by this point, and we still have a few trainers to fight along the way. Geodude and Nosepass both have quite low HP, at base 40 and 30, and they can only hit us with Rock Tomb, which has 80% accuracy, so I think we should be fine. And I didn't need to be worried. Nightshade does more than half to the first Geodude, and her Rock Tomb only does 7 damage. The same goes for the next Geodude, so we still have most of our health left when Nosepass comes out. She knows Rock Tomb, so she can hit us, but for some reason she only goes for Harden and Block. So after a bit of healing, she goes down. Let's try the optional rival fight. I go for Nightshade on Slugma to avoid a burn from Flame Buddy as she puts us to sleep with a yawn. Then it's Mudkip, who actually does some good damage to us, but only because we're asleep for so long. As soon as we wake up, we take him down with 2 Astonishes. With that done, we can head straight to Brawly, but a fun fact about him is that in Pokemon Emerald, he can be completely walled by a Sableye. He has 3 Pokemon, but all of them only have fighting type moves to hit you with. While it's not a complete wall, you can also do this in Ruby and Sapphire. His Makuhita has knockoff in those games, but it's 20 base power and comes from his base 20 special attack, so Sableye is always a really easy way to beat this gym. So the early game has been really easy, but I'm thinking it's going to get harder soon. Watson is almost always really difficult in any challenge run, since he has 4 Pokemon, all of which can paralyze you, and a Steel type, which very few Pokemon have good moves for at this point. There's loads of optional trainers on the way to Morville City, but to challenge myself, I'm going to skip most of them to see how low leveled I can beat Watson. I also pick up the Thief TM while I'm in Slateport. We're going to learn Feint Attack in 4 levels, but it could still be useful. Time for another rival fight. This one's usually difficult, so let's see how it goes. His Lombre takes a few hits to go down, but hardly hurts us. Then it's Marshtomp. Nightshade does less than half, and his Mudshots do decent damage, but then he switches to Water Guns, which are weaker, so a few more hits take him down as we're at just 24 HP. Last is Slugma, who thankfully just goes for a yawn and goes down in 2 hits. Let's try the Watson fight. We're level 29, which is only slightly higher than his Manectric, but we just learned Feint Attack, so maybe that can help us win? We fake out his Voltorb, who hits a Spark, but goes down to a Feint Attack. Next is Electrike. I go for a Nightshade to avoid Static, which does over half, as he goes for a Shockwave. He outspeeds on the next turn to hit us with another Shockwave, and we take him down with only 32 HP left. Now it's Magneton. A Nightshade does about half, as he goes for a Paralysis, and I forgot to give Sableye a Cherry Berry. Oops. Another Nightshade just misses the kill, and a Shockwave takes us really low. He heals up, and he's able to take us down with 1 more Shockwave. I think with 1 more level, Nightshade should be a 2-hit kill on Magneton, so let's give Sableye a Cherry Berry, get to level 30, and try again. This time, Voltorb gets a Paralysis with Spark, which uses up our berry. That's not good. I actually misclick here and go for a feint attack, which I thought could activate static, but apparently it's not a contact move in Gen 2 and 3. I feel like I know quite a lot about Generation 3 and 4 of Pokemon, but I'm always learning new things about them. We get him to waste a Super Potion here, which is nice, and a few Nightshades take him down. Now for Magneton. He paralyzes us right away, but we get lucky and hit a Nightshade. He hits a Supersonic, but we get lucky a second turn in a row, and hit through Confusion and Paralysis to take him down. Now it's Manectric. We hit through Confusion and Paralysis again, as a feint attack does less than half. We then break through a fourth time to hit him low into the yellow. This is the most lucky I've ever got with Paralysis and Confusion. We managed to hit him again on the next 2 turns, but it's not enough for the kill and we go down. We got so lucky this time around and we still lost, so I'm gonna have to go and get a few more levels. I know I should have fought those optional trainers. Alright, we come back at level 36. Voltorb is the usual story of Fake Out and Nightshade, and he thankfully doesn't paralyze us. Electrike goes down in one feint attack, and out comes Magneton. Nightshade does over half as our paralysis gets healed by our berry, so we take him down with really good health remaining. Against Magneton, I go for a Nightshade, which does about half, and a Shockwave does really little damage. Another Nightshade leaves him on what must be 1 HP as he's healed by his berry. One more Shockwave from him, and one more Nightshade from us wins us the fight. On our way to Meteor Falls, we hit level 41 and learn Shadow Ball. With that, I think it's about time we did an update. 102 health is nice, a lot better than I thought it would be for base 50. 73 attack's pretty good. To be honest, our only bad stat seems to be speed, which I was never expecting to be good. As for our moves, Shadow Ball and Feint Attack give us good stab options, and I've also taught him the secret power TM, which we got on Route 111. I would have also taught him other TMs too, like Shockwave and Dig, but they can only be used once, so I'd rather hold on to them in case I need them down the line. I've also kept around Nightshade to help us deal with steel types. Looking ahead, maxing on Mount Chimney should be easy, but I can see Flannery doing a lot of damage to us. At least we've got a strong special move in Feint Attack. Hopefully that should 2-hit kill Torkoal. After that's the normal gym, which should be really easy since we're immune to most of their attacks, and I don't see Winona giving us too many issues either. Let's go and fight Maxie. He starts with a Mightyena who intimidates us, so he lives a secret power above half, but thanks to him hitting himself in Confusion, we can take him down with full health. Next is Zubat, who goes down to 1 Feint Attack. Last is Camerupt. A Feint Attack does over half as he thankfully goes for Ember and not Magnitude, so we take him down. Before I fight Flannery, I go and pick up the return TM from Full Arbor Town. Also, we finally have enough money for a Psychic TM too. I don't think I'll need either of them right now, but they're good to have just in case. So Flannery starts off really easy. Her Numel and Slugma go down to 1 Shadow Ball each. Then it's Camerupt. I'm a bit worried he might live and go for a Sunny Day, but thankfully he goes down in 1 hit. Now for Torkoal. I go for Feint Attack since it's special and it does just over half. An Overheat could do massive damage to us, and she just goes for Sunny Day? Weird. We take her down with 1 more Feint Attack. I was expecting that to go much worse. There's not much to do between these gyms, so let's head straight to Norman. This should be easy since we're immune to normal, so they can only hit us with a couple of their weaker moves. First is Spinder, who confuses us with a Teeter Dance but goes down in a few Feint Attacks. Next is Vigoroth, but neutral Feint Attacks from his 55 special attack do hardly anything, so he goes down pretty easily. Now for Slacking. This is the only team member that I'm a bit concerned about. Right away he goes for a Yawn, and our Feint Attacks only do about a quarter. I switch to Secret Power, hoping for a Paralysis, but we don't get it. We fall asleep, and his Feint Attacks don't do much, but we're asleep for quite a while, so he takes us down below half. Thanks to a bit of healing, he's able to put us to sleep again before we can take him down. But last is Linoon, who can't actually do any damage to us, since for some reason all 3 of his attacking moves are normal type. With that done, we've unlocked Surf, and there's a million trainers we can fight before Winona. But considering how poorly my Ghost type did in the normal gym, I'll go and do some of the optional trainers around Dooford Town. I don't see the Flying Gym being too bad, but I feel like our low stats are maybe starting to catch up with us. After that is the Psychic Gym. That should be really easy, but we'll definitely need some more levels to deal with the later fights of the game. Both the Aqua Admin and the rival fights are really easy, so let's skip ahead to Winona. First up is Swablu, and we can't actually kill her in 1 hit, which is worrying, but she just hits a weak Aerial Ace before going down. Next is Tropius, who lives a Shadow Ball in the red and goes for a Sunny Day. Her ability, Chlorophyll, lets her outspeed us on the next turn, but she also just goes for a weak Aerial Ace before going down. And then it's Pelipper. She does what Pelipper does best and stalls with Protect and Supersonic. Then she does the other thing Pelipper does best and dies. Fourth is Skarmory, who lives a Nightshade and hits us with yet another weak Aerial Ace as she goes down. Last is Altaria. She lives a Shadow Ball at just below half and goes for a Dragon Dance. Then she hits us with a +1 Earthquake, which does literally nothing, so we take her down. We're level 52 now, so let's take another look at our stats. 130 health is pretty good, and all of our other stats minus speed are just under 100. Nice. I'm thinking from now on I'll try and skip as many trainers as I can. Pokemon games are always way more fun when they have a bit of challenge to them, and I don't think we're really going to be struggling in any major fights coming up. All of the Team Magma and Aqua fights have been really easy, and the Psychic Gym should be too. After that, I can maybe see the Water Gym giving us issues, but we'll probably be around level 60 by then, while his highest level Pokemon is only 46. I also don't see anyone in the Elite Four giving us issues until Drake and Wallace at the end. I really didn't expect Sableye to be this good. Time for the last rival fight, but it's really easy. It's a shame how bad Brendan and May are in these games. In other games, like Platinum, the rival actually has a really good team with decent levels and good moves, but the rival in Ruby, Sapphire and Emerald is always ridiculously easy. He never even fully evolves his starter. Look at his team. We just fought a level 31 Slacking and 33 Altaria, and I'm supposed to struggle against this Slugma? At least in the remakes, they added a somewhat challenging rival fight after the Elite Four. I haven't actually played the remakes since they came out. I wonder when that was. I was literally 12 years old then. I need to replay those games. Anyway, onto Maxie. He starts with Mightyena, so our attack is down from Intimidate. A secret power does about a third, but he just goes for a scary face. I think Nightshade might do slightly more, so I try it out and it nearly kills him. After he heals, a few more Nightshades get the kill, but he confuses us with Swagger as he goes down. Next is Crobat. We have +1 attack, so I go for a Shadow Ball, but I just hit myself in confusion as he hits a Wing Attack. On the next turn, we break through and kill him in one hit. Last is Camerupt. Earthquake could do massive damage and he outspeeds thanks to Scary Face, but he just goes for Amnesia, so one Shadow Ball takes him down. We have to do the Team Aqua base here, but for some reason we don't fight Archie. I get that he's in the submarine at this point, but we just fought Maxie, so having to fight a Team Aqua member who literally just has a worse version of Maxie's team is a bit disappointing. Anyway, now we can head into the Psychic Gym. Obviously I'm not worried about these guys. Only 2 of their Pokemon can actually damage Dark types. I just wanted to ask you guys if you have any requests for future challenges. I have a few in mind, but I'm always open to hearing more ideas. If you think of a good one, let me know. Okay, Tate and Liza. You need 2 Pokemon on your team to fight these guys, so I've got a Cascoon. Or maybe it's a Silcoon. Either way, I just need him to sit and do nothing. Xatu takes it out right away with a Psychic as we just missed the kill on Claydol with Shadow Ball. He hits an Earthquake, which doesn't do too much. We got the special defense drop, even though Shadow Ball is a physical move in this game, so on the next turn I go for a feint attack to take down Claydol. Xatu can't actually hit us, so he just keeps going for Calm Mind as I take down Solrock and Lunatone with 1 Shadow Ball each. And then Xatu goes down at the end. That was about as easy as I expected. Now we have a double battle with Steven against Team Magma. Did you guys know that Steven's Pokemon gain experience in this fight? Anyway, we hardly take any damage, so let's move on. While I do the Team Aqua base, I think it's a good time to look at the Elite Four. First is Sydney. Right now, we struggle with Dark types as our best move to hit them is Secret Power, but we can get Brick Break soon, so I don't think he'll be an issue. Then it's Phoebe, but both our Stab types have super effective to Ghost, so she should be easy too. As for Glacier, Brick Break will hopefully do good damage, but I don't know if her Pokemon might be able to live a few hits each and wear us down. I'm really worried about Drake. I think we'll do fine against most of his Pokemon, but Salamence has Intimidate, so our best move, Shadow Ball, is going to be weaker. His other Pokemon can probably chip away at our HP quite a lot, so he might be able to take us down. Then for Wallace, I'm honestly not too worried. Gyarados might give us issues, but we can always learn Shockwave, and I think Shadow Ball should be good enough for the rest of his team. Anyway, let's go and fight Archie. Let's see how this goes. The battle starts with him intimidating us, so our secret power does about a third. He goes for a Scary Face, which lets him outspeed on the next turn and hit a Swagger. We hit ourselves in confusion, but break through for the kill on the next turn. Thanks for the extra attack. Next is Crobat, and we're still confused, but he goes down to 1 Shadow Ball. Last is Sharpedo, who just wastes time going for Taunt, as 1 secret power takes him down. Did you know that his only attacking move here is Slash? Team Aqua and Magma have absolutely awful movesets. With all of that done, we can save the world from a climate disaster, but I have more important things to do. I can finally pick up the Brick Break TM, and with that, it's time to update my moveset. I've had the same moves since about the 4th gym, because I've had to keep around Secret Power to deal with Dark types and Nightshade for Steel types. With Brick Break, both of those types are covered now, so we have room to teach Psychic. I don't know if this will be my final moveset, but it's definitely an upgrade. Alright, let's try one. He starts with a Love Disc, who hits a Water Pulse, doesn't get the confusion, and goes down in 1 hit. Then it's Whiscash. He lives a Shadow Ball at about 25%, but he just goes for Amnesia, so we take him down. Now it's Celio. I try Brick Break, but he lives in the red and hits an Aurora Beam. Juan heals, so a few more hits take him down. The same happens with Crawdaunt. Brick Break misses the kill, so we take some damage, but ultimately take him down. Last is Kingdra. We just live an Ice Beam, but a Shadow Ball does under half, so we go down. I haven't actually done any training since before the 3rd gym, so I think it's about time. I can fight all the trainers in the gym, as well as the swimmers around Sutopolis, Lily Cove, Moss Deep and Pacific Log. So let's come back a few levels higher. After fighting all those trainers, I come back at 65. Luvdisc actually gives us issues this time. He's really annoying, with Sweet Kiss to confuse us, Attract to make us do nothing half the time, and Water Pulse to wear us down. After 4 turns, we finally get the kill. Whiscash just goes for Amnesia again. I'm not sure why he doesn't want to go for Earthquake, but I'm not complaining. Celio and Crawdaunt are both one-hit kills now, so last is Kingdra. He starts with a double team, which makes us miss our Shadow Ball, but Feint Attack isn't affected by evasion, so I just switch to that. It does just under half, so we should be able to take him down in a few hits, right? Well, he heals with a Hyper Potion, which is normal for a gym leader, but Kingdra also has Rest. With a Chesto Berry. We can't do any more damage to him, so we just have to hope for a crit. Thankfully we get one soon, but he ends up resting on the next turn. We need to crit when he's already taken one hit. Or we could just crit the next turn and take him down while he's asleep. That was lucky. I decide it's finally time for me to get a Shell Bell. I love this item, but I always forget to pick it up in these games. The Game Boy I used to use didn't properly register the time changes, so the tide was stuck permanently up. Thankfully my new Game Boy doesn't have that problem. Now, we can move on to Victory Road, where we can fight Wally. I wish we fought him a couple more times throughout the game. He could have made up for how bad Brendan and May are. He starts with Altaria, who thankfully doesn't paralyze us with Dragon Breath, so he goes down in 2 hits. Then the rest of his team are all one-shot. I take back what I said. While I make my way to the Elite Four, let's take one last look at my stats. All pretty good. Our speed is actually a lot higher than I thought it would be, but we'll probably still get outsped quite a lot. The rest of our stats are pretty well rounded, and 1-3-1 attack should be good enough for Shadow Ball to do big damage. But I don't know if we can beat the Elite Four at this level. I think we can make it to Drake, and then I'm not sure what's going to happen there. I'm assuming Salamence will give us issues. Let's find out. First is Sydney. Mighty Yenna has Intimidate, so we have lowered attack right away. But his Sand attack does nothing thanks to Keen Eye, so he goes down. Next is Shiftry, and a Brick Break misses the kill as he goes for a double team, Swagger and Torment. This is awful. When we hit ourselves in Confusion, it does a decent chunk of damage. When we don't hit ourselves, we miss. And when we finally do get to use Brick Break, we can't even use it on the next turn thanks to Torment. The rest of my moves are all really bad into Dark types, so even though we make it all the way to Absol, we go down. I'll come back and replace Psychic with Return, so we have another option to deal with Torment. This time, the same thing happens again, but we manage to kill Shiftry before he uses Torment. We also never hit ourselves in Confusion, and thanks to Swagger boosting our attack, the rest of his team goes down in 1 hit each, so we finish the fight with full health. It's crazy how differently fights can go with just a little bit of luck. Next is Phoebe, but she's almost a one-shot sweep. The only one of her Pokemon who doesn't go down to a Shadow Ball is her own Sableye, but he just goes for double team, which we can counter with Feint Attack since it never misses. I never expected her to be difficult. Hopefully Glacier goes the same with Brick Break. Probably not, but we can hope for the best. Her first 2 Celios and Glalie all just survive Brick Breaks, which means they can slowly chip us down with Hail and Ice Beam. So by the time Walrein comes out, we only have 22 health left. Brick Break does over half, which is nice, but she obviously takes us down. If I get a few levels higher, we should be able to get at least a couple of one-shots against her first few Pokemon. Let's rematch Sydney and Phoebe a few times and come back. I'm level 77 now, so let's see how this goes. The weakest Celio and Glalie go down in 1 hit each now, but the fight still goes pretty much the same. We make it to Walrein and get overpowered. If we weren't so slow, I'd have a lot more health left for Walrein, but I don't think I'll be outspeeding anytime soon. So let's just do a bit more grinding and come back. We're 82 now, and we actually do outspeed. We can also 1-hit kill both the Celios and both Glalies now, so we're at full health by Walrein. Brick Break does really good damage, and Ice Beam doesn't freeze, and 1 more hit takes it down. I really didn't think we'd have to gain more than 10 levels just to beat Glacier. This makes me even more worried for Drake. We don't struggle against any of Drake's Pokemon in particular, but they all take 2 hits of Shadow Ball to go down, so he gets a few hits on us with all of his Pokemon. We're at about half health for Flygon, but Earthquake hits really hard, especially when it crits, so we go down. No worries though, I have a different strategy in mind which I think might work. So in Pokemon Emerald, every member of the Elite Four will almost always go for a non-damaging move on the first turn. For Shelgon, that's Protect. This means you're relatively safe to use a setup move at the start of the fight. In our case, that's Calm Mind, which I taught him by ATM. Shelgon can only hit us with special Dragon Claws or weak Rock Tombs, so it's safe to use a few Calm Minds here. I get to +4 special attack and special defense and decide to take him down with a Feint Attack. Most of Drake's attacks are either special or normal type, so we only really have to worry about Earthquake from Flygon and Rock Slide from Salamence. Flygon crits Earthquake again, which means we're pretty low on health by the time Salamence comes out. He goes for a Rock Slide, and 1 Feint Attack takes him down. Champion time. So against Waylord, we outspeed, which is nice as I can go for a Shadow Ball to weaken his Water Spout, but he goes for a Rain Dance instead. Since Water Spout is weakened, he can't do much to us, so I decide to set up. I don't want to risk a crit or a freeze, so I take him down after 2 Calm Minds. Next is Tentacruel, and even with our special defense buffs, Rain Boosted Hydro Pump does a decent chunk of damage, especially when it crits. But we take him down. Next is Ludicolo, who does almost nothing with a Giga Drain, so we take him down too. But then it's Whiscash who kills us with an Earthquake. I'll probably just have to risk a critical hit against Waylord and set up a few more Calm Minds, so we can take down some of his Pokemon in one hit. This time, against Waylord, a Shadow Ball actually crits. One of the few times where you don't want a critical hit. This means we have to set up against Tentacruel, but he goes for Toxic, so it's not even worth carrying on. So, 3rd time's the charm. I go for Brick Break this time, so that we can lower Waylord's health without risking killing him with a crit. This lets us set up 3 Calm Minds as we take him down with a Shockwave. I've taught us that via TM since I think we'll need it for Gyarados. Tentacruel goes for Hydro Pump, and crits again, but we regain decent health from the Shell Bell while Wallace heals. And he misses the next one, so let's see if we can win this. Ludicolo lives a Shadow Ball, but just goes for a double team, so Shockwaves take him down. Earthquake from Whiscash could really hurt, but he just goes for Amnesia for some reason. Maybe because he sees our +3 special attack? I don't know. Anyway, 2 Shadow Balls take him down, and now we've actually built up enough health to be in the green. I love the Shell Bell. We thankfully outspeed Gyarados, who gets destroyed by a Shockwave, and last is Milotic, who lives a hit. She goes for Toxic, but it's too little too late. One more Shockwave gets the kill. We've beaten the Elite Four, but there's one more challenge left. The final fight against Steven Stone in Meteor Falls. He has a level 78 Metagross, so I don't know if we can beat this, even at level 100, but let's give it a try. So the Steven fight goes badly, but not as bad as I expected. We kill Skarmory and Armaldo, but we go down to Claydol, since he sets up a Reflect, which means our Shadow Balls only do about a third, plus Earthquake hits really hard. I think this is doable, but ideally I want to have 5 moves here. Shadow Ball for Claydol, Brick Break for Cradily, Calm Mind to set up, Shockwave for Skarmory and Aggron, and Feint Attack for Metagross. Out of those, I think I can afford to lose Shadow Ball. If we set up a few Calm Minds, Feint Attack should do more than Shadow Ball to Claydol. Let's go and reteach Feint Attack and come back. Even with 2 Calm Minds, Skarmory takes 2 hits to go down, and Armaldo takes 3. This is probably doable at level 85, but I would drive myself crazy doing all the attempts to get perfect RNG. I'm gonna do some training and come back at level 100. So we definitely need to set up a few Calm Minds to win, but Skarmory has Toxic, so that's easier said than done. We outspeed Skarmory now, and Shockwave does over half without any boosts, so we can take him down decently quickly. I decide to set up against Armaldo. His only moves that can hit us are Ancient Power, Water Pulse and Aerial Ace, all of which only have 60 power, so we should be safe to go for a few Calm Minds. As long as he doesn't crit. I'm able to get 2 Calm Minds up, so we do good damage with Feint Attack and heal up a decent amount from the Shell Bell. So Armaldo goes down. Next is Claydol, and we live Earthquake with just 14 health and 1 shot with a Feint Attack. Our health is really low, but we were in a similar situation in the winning fight against Wallace, so maybe we can win this one too. We miss the kill on Aggron, but his Earthquake leaves us on just 2 health, so we can take him down. Next is Cradily, and I'm not sure which attack will do the most damage here. I decide on a Brick Break, and it does over half, but an Ancient Power takes us down. Considering we got crit as we were setting up against Armaldo, that was actually a really good attempt. Let's try again, and hopefully we'll get just a bit more lucky. This time, Skarmory does nothing by setting up spikes, so let's go to Armaldo. I start to go for Calm Minds as he does Ancient Power. A critical hit or a stat boost from him would probably end this attempt. But we managed to get up 4 Calm Minds.
You failed!
Which apparently isn't even enough for the kill. As he heals, I set up 1 more, and this Feint Attack does the job. We're at very low health with 4 more Pokemon to go, so I don't know if we can win this. Thankfully, Claydol wastes time with Reflect, so he's a 1-shot kill. We outspeed Aggron, and he goes down too, getting us back up to half health. Cradily survives a Feint Attack and crits an Ancient Power, but we live. Steven then goes for 3 full restores in a row. If I knew he was going to keep healing, I would have gone for another Calm Mind, but at least we gain a lot of health back. Last is Metagross, and I'm scared. Meteor Mash does really good damage, but we just live. And he survives on 1 HP. We're at such low health that any of his moves will take us down here, but apparently we're speed tied. 1 more hit takes him down. That was a really fun challenge. I've never used a Sableye before, and he was better than I expected. I think in a regular playthrough with a bigger team, he would fall off around the 6th gym, but we sailed through pretty much the entire game until the Elite Four. Maybe one day soon I'll do a Sableye challenge in Platinum. Speaking of, I have a really hard platinum challenge in mind for my next video that I'm really excited for. Anyway, for anyone who is curious, I finally bought a PC. I'm in the middle of cleaning it all up at the minute. I bought a second-hand one online and it was absolutely disgusting, but at least it works. Once that's all set up, I should be able to make videos on a more regular basis. I use my laptop for everything at the minute, but it overheats really quickly when I play a game and record it at the same time, so I have to take breaks really often. Also, I can only run really basic editing software, but I'm hoping my PC should be able to do more than that. Thanks so much to everyone who watched this, and hopefully I'll see you next time.